Good afternoon, my name is Mike Oren. This is MDF2 for the term of 1506. We're going over the week 1 project, the accounts frameworks, and using Twitter in our applications. I'll start by going over my code. At the very beginning, I'm importing the social and the accounts frameworks. Creating at the top is my escape segue and the table outlet. Then, as we were instructed this week in the videos, I create an account store and create an account type, that of Twitter for this week. And then we go into asking for permission from the user to access the Twitter. Once that's granted, I run a if statement saying that if it's granted, I start pulling the Twitter accounts from my API. And then I request the information from that API and start pulling out the bits and pieces from the API to start populating into my table. Pulling out the description, user, profile image for the table, and then I'll populate that into the cell. Scrolling down, I also created the dialog box that allows the user to send a tweet directly from the application if they wish. And then the 2 standard functions for the table views, the number of rows in section, which just returns the number of pieces in my array, and then the function that populates the cell with the information from my custom class. Moving on down, I created a refresh dialog. So when you hit refresh, it shows you that there is a message showing, so the user knows what's going on the background. And then I created a segue, 2 segues, and then an if statement saying if one button is pushed, then it'll bring up the detail view controller. If the other button's pushed, I will bring up the user view controller. Then I created my custom class with the tweet information with all the pieces of information that I'll be using, and then the cell, which is going to have the image, the title, and the date that that tweet was posted, and then as per instructed, the information on the user, and then the details of each text in the view controller. So if I run the application, just a little side note, maybe something that we can cover in next week's Hangouts, is getting everything to, what's the word I'm looking for? Get everything to align correctly. So if I go over to my main storyboard, everything looks pretty much centered in the storyboard. Everything looks like it would lay out pretty nicely. But then when I go into the simulator, everything's kind of off to the right or whatever. If we could go over, perhaps, let me get the word I'm looking for. The constraints, that's what I'm looking for. If we can go over constraints, how to set it up, because if I run this in the iPhone 5 simulator, I know everything says run in iPhone 6, but if I run it in the iPhone 5 simulator, everything seems to align better. The constraints seem to, except for that. I tweaked this a little bit, so before I started messing with everything. Yeah, so if we could just hammer down the constraints maybe in the Hangout, so we can make sure everything lines up nicely no matter what device we're running it on. I haven't even plugged this into my iPad yet. I can only imagine what that's going to look like. So if we run this, I'll go over the actual application. Pops up. At first, nothing populates. Hit the refresh button, and then you saw the quick refresh dialog box that popped up, then went away once everything was set, and then my table populates with all the tweets. I'm not a huge tweeter, I guess you could say, so most of these are strictly me just posting from the application that I made mostly last month, the one that didn't go so well, and now I have this month. And if we click on a tweet, you have the user, the time it is created, and the tweet content. I was having trouble yesterday. I sent you a message. I didn't connect the actual table connection. I connected the data source and the delegate, but the actual table view I never connected. So that's why I kept getting that weird optional. Just a dumb moment back to, once I connected it, everything was back on track. Hit back, it's my escape segue, it brings me back to this. Then if I go to my accounts, it brings up the my account page with the name, the description of whatever the Twitter description is, and then the number of friends and the number of followers in that. And then if I wanted to send out a new tweet, I have my custom hashtag already loaded, as well as a little image, and this is the video tweet. One thing I noticed when I post it, for some reason it will post to my Twitter if I check it online, but when I hit refresh, I don't get it immediately in my my code. Maybe I'm in my application. Maybe I'm doing something wrong there. I mean, obviously I'm doing something wrong there. But if I pull it up in just normal Twitter, I will get, this is the video tweet. So my custom hashtags in there, and the image that I manually populated in there. It's all in there. So this is this week's application. The video's running a little long. I'm gonna try and stop it. But yeah, so next week, if we could just go over constraints so the application looks a little bit cleaner when we run it, that'd be great. Anyway, this is Mike Oren signing out.